The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host, David White, the koala bear of Wall Street. Of course, available every market day that the market's open, between 2 and 3 Eastern Time on most of TFNN.com. Of course, you can always get the show 24/7 if you just go and check out Channel 14. Of course, market's closing early on Thursday this week, and of course, closed all day on Friday. So getting a little bit of a compression in this market. Of course, the Dow got within 2 points of testing 17,000 and backed off. So we'll keep an eye throughout the show and at the end of the day to see what's happening. But it looks to me like there was a lot of, let's just check out and see what's happening. Of course, we're about 18 points lower than that as we speak. On the S&P cash, we are up 16 points with 1.9 billion shares on the New York Consolidated Stock Exchange tape. And the question is whether we have anything left to go in here. And just about all of this is being driven today on upgrades, rather dubious ones at that. And we'll get into that today. But anytime you hear people talk about TAM, you should be extremely worried. That's kind of the equivalent of talking about click-throughs in the 2000.com highs. For you that don't listen to the show regularly or didn't listen when I talked about it before a few times, TAM stands for Total Addressable Marketplace. And it's kind of like saying, well, you know, I opened up a barbecue joint down here on the corner, and there's so many people here in Tampa, so that's my total addressable market. And then taking that and saying, well, just because people don't live here, maybe they'll come here on vacation. So I have a much bigger total addressable market of maybe the entire United States, the planet, or the solar system, or the universe, or whatever. And that's basically what it is. It's always some kind of super nebulous addressable market, bovine excrement. And it is just that. It's you always want to. It's kind of like when you hear the used car dealer say, "Trust me, you better put your hand on your wallet and make sure it's still there." When you hear TAM, the back of the hairs on the back of your neck should automatically, as a trader, stand up. And we'll get into that a little bit here. Anyway, we'll keep a close eye out here, up 16 points on the S&P cash, and we're up a few points higher on the NASDAQ. So we will keep an eye on all of that. But I digress. What else do we have going on out here? In 1990, Wall Street set a blistering pace as then a record 6 IPOs are issued in a single day. The companies, Command Security, all in-store advertising, Mecca Software, ModTech Holdings, and O'Charley's and Wisconsin Pharmaceuticals raised a total of $100 million. It's an early sign that the economy and stock market are recovering from the recession, and a reminder that investors will almost always stand behind a piece of junk like all of those except anything with a pulse, basically. I think the only company that made it out of all those was O'Charley's. I used to eat there when I lived in Cincy. But other than that, not a lot happening. But it was a nice place, but I wouldn't say that it was the kind of place that would make any long-term money. Although, on this day in 1996, Albert Chainsaw Dunlap becomes chairman of Sunbeam Corporation, struggling maker of coffee machines, barbecue grills, and massaging shower heads. The veteran tough guy turnaround office turnaround Artis announced massive layoffs, factory closing, and other steps that he predicts will save the company $225 million and double revenues in the next 2 years. The stock soars 50% on Dunlap's first day. Less than 2 years later, Dunlap steps down amid allegations of massive accounting fraud. I can't remember. I'll have to check during the break if he ever went to jail. Maybe someone in the den remembers, but I can't remember. It was always a good deal. What can you say? Also on this day in 1968, Robert Noyce and Gordon Moore, engineers from Fairchild Semiconductor, established a new company, NM Electronics Company, to miniaturize electronic circuitry onto silicon chips. They wanted to do it at Fairchild, but Fairchild was having none of it, so they went and started their own company. The firm was based in a small leased building in Mountain View, California. It generated $2,600 in revenues the first year. A couple of years later, about 1970, they decided to change the name of the company, and that company was soon to be called Intel. But always interesting to know that Intel was on this day in 1968. And other things going on. Bubble. Yep. And, of course, we've got some signs of at least some irrational exuberance, euphoria, especially when we look at some stocks that have no basis in their valuations, at least stock prices. This is nothing new. People traded Beanie Babies. There was no way that a Beanie Baby was suddenly going to be so valuable because of the cloth or the plastic put into it. We go into various stages of the marketplace, and it is going to be one of those markets that I fear will lead to 2007 results and 2000. That doesn't mean that you can't make money in those kind of markets. It just means that you need to be incredibly careful. And one of the ways you can do that is pairs trading. And I'm going to be thinking over this long weekend if there's anything I can do with that. Pairs trading basically means that you take two stocks in the same kind of business. You go long the strong one, you short the weak one, and if the market blows up, you hopefully have a right mix so that you at least have some level of being able to handle a severe market crack. Of course, in 2000, everybody said blah, blah, blah. And, of course, the market did crack a little while later. In 2007, early 2007, everybody would have basically put you on a cruise and crucified you if you mention the word bubble. And, of course, in the next 2 years, we saw what happened. The question is there any basis at all for evaluation of a stock? And if there isn't, then you probably have some kind of Beanie Baby market. And, of course, yesterday we talked about the International Bank of Settlements in Basel, Switzerland, saying there's a bubble. And those bubbles are being created by the central bankers of all the big companies out here. And the question would be, if interest rates started going up tomorrow, what would these stocks be worth? The only reason I bring that up is we're probably going to see a lot more stocks that move like GoPro. Generally, when you see one of these, there's a handful of them coming out behind them, and they all do it. It attracts the gamblers. It only makes it get bigger until one day it busts. And you basically buy a $40 stock, and 5 minutes later, it's $15. And it doesn't happen at the beginning. But, maybe the best thing to do is make sure that you've got some kind of hedge on. And if you can't buy a hedge in one of those stocks, then maybe the risk reward is just too poor for you. But I have a feeling you might be seeing a market that is going to get incredibly bubbly in the near future, and I think we're starting to see some signs of that. What did we have in, did I get to, we'll get to Netflix in a minute out here and what's happening in it. One of the other things I was going to say is we talked a little bit about the storms off Florida. And according to the National Hurricane Center, there's about a 60% chance of a development in the next 2 days, and 80% chance of development into a tropical system within the next 5 days. And the models have now turned to North Carolina all the way up to the New England. So just keep an eye on it if you're anywhere in that area. But I have a feeling that up north, at least on the East Coast, might have kind of a rainy 4th of July weekend. But it doesn't look like there's much of a chance of a hurricane, but at least some nasty weather. And we got a little bit of it last night, which was just the tail of this thing that came through. And it was pretty violent, but nothing of hurricane level. Some of the other stocks that we're talking about out here that are getting fairly bubbly, I brought up a little while ago, brought up again yesterday, and that is GW Pharmaceuticals. It was up again, yet again today. And a lot of these things are getting extremely fast moving. And, of course, I was a fairly new trader, started full-time in October of 98. By the time the full-time .com bubble was in, and we were seeing stocks go from 40 to 60 in one day and back to 10 by the end of the close, is nothing new for me. The question is just, are you going to have enough cash left? If you're going to play these things, just remember that you don't want to take any kind of risk that would be your last as a trader. It is the equivalent of playing Russian roulette. One bullet is enough to ruin your day. So if you're going to put money into any of these, just make sure that you use small positions. Don't get greedy, and you can still make money. Pairs trading is another way. Sometimes on some of these stocks, buying options so that you can't get wiped out, and then going against those options, buying puts, going along the actual stock is another way of playing some of these extremely volatile stocks to at least limit how much you can lose. Of course, that also limits how much you're going to make. But again, it's one of those things where a lot of these stocks, some of them rather dubious valuations. You can see monster movements even intraday in these if history is any guide. I speculated about 3 months ago that the government probably knew there was something up with all these GM problems, or 2 months ago, something like that. We're starting to see the first articles come out, and I may have been right. But there are some investigations going on now. The government did know about this looming problem, but sold their shares anyway. The biggest insider trading scandal? Our government.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get a red light, green light indicator that gives you signals on 25 different future contracts? Now you can with Taz Signal Box. This red light, green light market profile system dynamically updates 24 hours a day and provides you with important trend and trade signals on 9 different commodities, 9 different indices, and 8 different currencies. Right now, you can receive a free 2-week trial to Taz Signal Box. For all the details and to find out how the signal box works, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Andy Heck's powerful weekly newsletter, the Technomental Commodity Report, has delivered multiple triple-digit winning trades in recent months. And right now's the perfect time to get a full month-long trial to Andy's newsletter with no obligation to pay anything. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Technomental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you'll lock in the low rate of only $59 a month. Sign up right now for the Technomental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Anyway, we're probably on hold. I would suspect, maybe we'll pull back a little bit, but I suspect we're on hold until the jobs numbers on Thursday. And, of course, it will be a short market. And no matter what they are, the market looks like now it is very interested in looking at anything in a positive light. I saw some pretty horrible numbers from Macau and the gambling establishments there. They moved those stocks up today. So it doesn't matter what the news is right now. We are in a market that is, I think, euphoric. And I'll be looking very hard at my positions here and see whether or not I will be exiting them. I got one that's I'm probably pretty sure I'm going to get rid of. The rest, I think we could see some high volatility when we come back next week. But I have a feeling it's going to be a great deal more volatile in the coming months. But that doesn't mean that overall we aren't going to see a market that is slightly higher. Certainly he saw a little bit of... we'll take a look at 17,000 and then back off at least on the Dow. But my guess is they're going to try to jam this thing up before the close. And it's a lot about short squeezes into very thin markets, which is what we're seeing, at least somewhat. Let's see what else is. Wanted to look at Netflix fairly quickly. And, of course, the NFLX. One of the discussions out here is Goldman Sachs just kind of coming out of the woodwork at the stock at the high and saying, oh, well, we've got a global addressable market of, 7 billion people. So, therefore, this thing's that. Now, when we look at the charts, Energy was about the same going down as it was going back up. But I didn't like this low down here at 299.50. Volume actually increased from the previous low on April 15th that had 4.4 million. So you broke below it. It did it with higher volume. You got into a gap. It came back up here to the highs. And you got rather a dubious upgrade from Goldman Sachs today on that total addressable market scam that everybody always runs. Doesn't mean that Netflix is not going higher, just that I have a feeling that probably there were a lot of people salivating about the ability to blow out a bunch of shorts going into a 3-day weekend, which is nothing new. It is always risky to do so. I had basically a 20% position short, so I had 80% of my reserves pretty much in cash in my daily trading newsletter. So yeah, maybe you can say that that is a belief in just how much I believe that the market was going down. But the idea was that I thought, yeah, could the market go up 10 points? It never, basically can, or go down 100 points. And my idea is that probably not a great deal to be made on the upside, but there's a huge amount to be made on the downside when this market at least even starts to pull back. But it doesn't look like it's going to do it in the next couple of days. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. Anyway, when we look at this, of course, it was back up here with 2.6 million shares, $485, $458. Why? Dyslexic, a cure for. Found. It's, okay, back to where I'm at. $458, 2.6 million shares. We've broke above it. All you need to do is, for a continuation signal, is hold 458 into the close. You certainly have all the volume that you need on Netflix, and it is a new high. The energy going back up here is not all that exciting. So does that mean that we're going to go to 500? I don't think so. I think it can hold above 458, but I'm not seeing this as a huge deal, anything other than a short squeeze. When we pull back to this 458 in the coming days and weeks, at that point, we're going to have to see whether there's any volume. We've seen so many of these stocks break out, come right back, and go right back into the trading range, energy, volume or not, that we'll be keeping an eye on them. But between this and GoPro and some of these other ones, a lot of dubious upgrades into a thin market going into a long weekend. Not unsurprising to see this kind of action. But you never know. We've got get into the movers and shakers when we come back. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can also give me an email at path@tfnn.com or post a message in the den.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock in option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can't use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. This segment is brought to you by Harmony Gold. For more information, just click the Harmony Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, of course, looking at a few of these stocks that are moving today. AYA, which is QD Brands, came out with earnings last night, and the street gave it a big raspberry. And this thing came in and is right on the top of a big gap. That gap happened on January 9th of this year. It came back into it a couple of times, last time with a little bit more volume than the previous time. So you had the April 15th low at 119.02 with just under 500,000 shares. Certainly had almost 600,000 shares back into the 116.77 low on May 9th. So not unsurprisingly, we're going to get a test back here. And, of course, 2.3 million shares are ready today, which is going to blow away the ninth volume of 2 million shares. So looking for the rest of that gap to get filled out here at 110 toot sweet. Again, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. Another one out with earnings with FNF, Fidelity National Financial. This one's down on monster volume back into the November 7th low that had 3.6 million shares. And, of course, you had monster volume yesterday. And, of course, decent volume back out here today. FOLD, Amicus Therapeutics. These guys reported a fairly decent result from a stage 2 trial. And if I remember correctly, they are into a rare disease. So I don't know if there's going to be that much money in this like a real widespread drug like high blood pressure, that kind of stuff. But apparently this is a fairly nasty business they're involved in trying to cure, and it puts all kinds of crud in your veins, kind of like getting all clogged up from, what is that, all the nasty stuff that you get from eating too much butter. But yeah, good news on that, and a nice pop the last couple of days. One of the bigger movers out here. Another, most of these are pharma stocks out here. Some of them have gotten better and worse news on their drugs. I don't even know how to pronounce this one. Sinagevina Biopharma Corp. GNVA is the symbol on this one. Down on heavy volume, and we already have 700,000 shares already. Suggests this one will probably make its way back to the $76.63 low that we saw back on June 6th, and probably where some level of support is going to come back in. But it looks like that's got some weakness out here. Solix Pharmaceutical, another one popped on good news. SLXP, this thing, got to watch it. These things are little rockets, but certainly was up there hanging around its highs at $120. Not a lot of sign that this thing was going to break out, but certainly did. It has a volume. The only thing you don't have is a real nice big candle out here, which suggests maybe this thing will get back to 125, and you might even have a chance to actually catch that one again. STAA, Star Surgical Company. This one, another one, not a huge volume mover out here, but boy, what a intraday move on this one, down to 1279. And I think that tick is actually correct. It's, of course, printing off in the high 14s right now, but STAA. Now, here's the one that really is interesting to me today, and that is USEC, USU. Of course, this is the uranium manufacturer. They take yellow cake and distill it down and get ready to sell to people with nuclear electric generators. And all we know right now is USEC's statement on unusual trading, and we don't comment on it. So who knows what's going on in this thing, but what a huge move out here today. And, of course, when you look at the intraday, it started early on. So somebody thinks that they know something out here, but I can't find any hide nor hair of any actual information on this thing. But I've been watching these stocks for a while. The only thing that I can think of is maybe CCJ or something like that would have a buyout on one of these. Maybe somebody else does something, but certainly you don't see any real movement in CCJ. So USU, very interesting on this. Of course, some of the other stocks moving very heavily are a lot of these 3D printer stocks. Oh, thank you, Z. Okay. USU received funds from the DOE. USU is running short of money. Okay, cool. I looked in the news, couldn't find anything right before the show. Oh, thank you. And see what else we got going on here. The USU is running short of money. What a deal. Of course, VoxelJet, some of these other 3D printer companies, all having massive short squeezes. VoxelJet, a huge move up to $27.41 today. Couldn't hold. It's back down around the $25 level. But we are seeing a lot of these run into this short weekend, and why it's so dangerous to have stocks that have 30, 40, 50% short interest in them. X1 did kind of a similar thing out here. This thing went right back up to its previous high of February 27th. I have to admit that I had a very fast finger and was able to get some shares of this thing short, but boy, it was a fairly short-lived proposition on this thing. But you had to be standing there and you had to be watching it. And I think this thing has gone back in. It's filled this gap that really happened on high volume back on the 21st of March. But this is one of these stocks that you kind of have to know and watch it trade. But excellent short squeeze. way to make a few bucks intraday on this thing, but very tough to do so. You can lose. It's all fun and games till someone loses an eye, and I just happened to see this thing up against its previous high. Don't like that the volume was so huge out here today, but makes a lot of sense when you have a 30-40% short interest. What else can you say? Yeah, probably untradeable. I just couldn't find anything on it earlier. Z's commenting on it in the den. And, USU probably not tradable, but boy, what a move if you could. I wanted to look at DDD also and see how it's responding. But almost all these stocks do this. And, of course, 3D Systems gave back a great deal of it. I was watching this one also on the opportunity to maybe go out and hit this, but didn't get an opportunity on it. DDD Systems, this had basically went through and covered all the gaps back up. You got another gap at 80. The question is whether or not it will actually get into those or if this is an exhaustion move. My guess is that we're not going to have any follow-through on Wednesday, and we're going to have one huge number for the jobs on Thursdays to not have set at least a temporary high in some of these. Let's go back and look at the what do we got? So we're up 15 points on the S&P cash, 2.1 billion shares, and up 145 on the Dow. It doesn't look like we're going to hold that 17,000 today. So what else do we have going on? I want to look at a few stocks that we're testing previous highs out here, and we'll look at a few of them. Some of these energy companies still look awful weak. And, of course, we're getting some sell signals on a few of them. ATO is one. I was looking into this huge candle that came and spiked into May 8th. $53.02 was the high with 1.4 million shares. Yesterday we had 674,000 shares. Today we get a fairly decent reversal and back into the trading zone. Energy's not really picking it up, but we will be looking at it. MTDR, and that's it. Matador Resources, another one of these companies. And we got a phone call, so we'll go right to Mike in Lakewood. How you doing today, Mike?
Oh, pretty good. And you? Yep.
Another day in paradise.
Yeah, this is Lakewood, California. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Genrec, GNRC. I'd like to know if you've got any opinion. It's been sleeping here for a while. Last year there weren't really any hurricanes that hit the United States that I can think of. And,
yeah, they've also, of course, after those hurricanes, not only do they sell small generators, but they sell whole house generators that run on natural gas. And what happened pretty much from in about mid of last year is that they continued to have a lot of these contracts to fulfill to put these generators back in houses. Almost all of those are fulfilled now. So you're going to have some kind of a huge impotence to get this thing going.
Well, that's what I'm looking at. We're getting ready to have our first it may just be a tropical storm. I shouldn't say just, because it can still do a lot of damage. We're getting ready to have our first one. It looks it's going to hit the East Coast any day now.
Yeah, I've been talking about it on the show here. So
somebody just downgraded the stock too. That's why I get a little suspicious when they do that just before
a storm. Yeah, shake a few people out. To me, the play on this one would be probably looking tomorrow morning and seeing what the options look like, and maybe just carrying the options till Monday. Because I don't think you've got much downside to this. So if you got,
I was thinking of just buying a couple hundred shares, just a small amount, and just hold them through the summer season just to see what happens. But
I this is going to be kind of like playing natural gas on some kind of natural storm. That you're going to see these things come along, and of course, everybody's seen the same thing that you've seen.
Right.
So there's not any kind of news about the weather that you're going to have access to that no one else does. The question is this just a gamble and that something bad happens? And normally, when you want to go and put something in there, I like options better than buying the underlying stock. One, you've got a limit if this thing comes off and nothing happens over the weekend. Two, you have a lot more upside if it does, right? So normally
right, you're
when
talking
I
about
play
buying
these,
a couple of calls, right?
yeah, I would much rather play this with a couple of calls. I haven't looked at and seen how much these are.
I haven't either yet. I just want to get your opinion before we run out of time here. That's all.
We got 3 minutes here in this segment, so not a big problem. But I like it. I like it long. The energy from this last leg up to the last leg down. Tested the low on lighter volume. The energy, when I looked at my power law vector indicator number, is less than the last leg up. Could you get back into this $55 level on some bad news? I think you could. So I like the risk reward. I don't think you want to be in this thing more than or lower than $43. But to me, let's take a quick look at the options in here to see what premiums are running on it. My guess is that, especially with the market doing what it's doing, that if you wanted to buy options out, let's say till like August, which would probably take care of most of what you're looking at here, puts, calls. Let's see what I've got here. You could, if you're looking for upside, what are the 45s out here? I mean, they're $3.80 on the high side. The 46s. There's 149 of those. Yeah, you could probably get in somewhere around $3 on the 46s and limit your downside to no more than $3 after this weekend.
And you're looking at trying to go in the money as opposed to maybe going out a point or two. I'm looking at the 49s and 48s right now. So
yeah, if I was going to go out of the monies, I'd go 50s.
Okay, you'd go that far out. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get a storm, this thing's going to run to 55 or 56. If you're buying a lotto ticket, I'd probably go with the 50s out here. And if you can get them at $1.25, $1.30, something like that, I think that you might be in it. And to tell you the truth, depending on what the weather's like tomorrow morning, I think you're probably going to get a chance to get
okay, well, that sounds good. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
You bet. So, yeah, looks good. And, of course, anytime bad weather comes, this is going to be a stock that has a history of running big. I've missed this twice into 2 storms. So this is one of these big fish that got away from me, but I always like it.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks for the call. And reminding us about GNRC into the storm and the storm weekend. And what else do we have going? Oh, I wanted to look at a few other stocks. QEP. This is Tuesday, so we do have Andy Eck stalking me after this show. QEP Resources, another one of these resources companies. And let's just read the profile out here. But I'm seeing more of these energy companies, and I'm pretty sure this is, natural gas and oil exploration company up at these highs. This one's up against the October 22 spike of 2013. 7.2 million shares at $34.24. We're getting right into that now. We've gone above it. We're probably going to be closing below it on much lighter volume. So pretty much a decent sell signal. You got to be watching some of these because energy may be the weakest sector in the S&P here going forward. Anyway, we'll be back in just a minute.
Daryl Martin coined the phrase diagnostic trading, and we're happy to announce that his diagnostic box spread analyzer has finally been released. The Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer helps you easily identify the best box spreads on Nadex in seconds, plus you receive access to the diagnostic deviation levels, as well as step-by-step training videos teaching you how to trade Nadex spreads so you can quickly master the mechanics of this simple yet powerful trading instrument. By pulling live data from the Nadex exchange, the Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer does all the math for you, calculating risk, reward potential, distance to break even for both outright spreads and spreads used to hedge the underlying market. Visit the front page of TFNN.com today to get your 2-week free trial to Daryl Martin's Diagnostic Box Spread Analyzer and gain access to the valuable information it can provide when trading the Nadex box spreads.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders, take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Join Andy Hecht as he teaches you how to make money in commodities. The Commodities Hour, next on TFNN.
And as we come back, we'll talk a little bit about some of the stuff. Of course, Andy Hecht coming up, and kind of interesting to see what he might tell us about coffee today. And some of the other things that are moving out here, of course. Interestingly enough, let's just take a quick look. Gold up $6.60, silver up 8 cents, and crude flat. I'll have to talk to him after the show tonight because I've got some more charts that look very interesting in this energy sector, and may not see anything until next week on them, but I think we're starting to see some more movement, kind of like we saw, what was that, about a week and a half ago now, on and when those companies moved hugely based on the ability to export at least light sweet crude. And I need to go back and look at that. Maybe you'll talk about how those and how the light sweet crude has moved since then, and those companies that refine it. But kind of a good time to review. Maybe you'll do that. I think he's listening. I'll bug him during the show so that he does do that. Anyway, Spirit Airlines, another one. And again, when we're looking at these high crude prices, if they were to spike, probably the airlines would be the most hurt. Not a real good light leg up for this last leg, or I would be shorted already, but certainly looks like it's found some highs. The March 25th high at $63 $1.89, 1.4 million shares. We're into it today with 600,000 shares. So again, a lot of these stocks attacking these highs on very, very light volume. This isn't like 50% light. This is, it's very, very light. Now, you had a little more energy trying to break through it on the 23rd, but today, pretty light. And, of course, you had this kind of unexplainable high volume day at 7.7 million shares. I'm sure we could figure it out if I read the news, but just interesting out here on some of these stocks. The other ones that I found it very interesting are TAN, which is the solar index out here. This thing's back up against its April 24th high, $44.35, 1.2 million shares back into it. And, of course, we've got about half that, too. And today, 268,000 shares. So these solars, of course, pretty much ride tandem to what the energy market's doing. And, just kind of very hard to say that we've got a lot of stocks out here that look like they're going to go retest the bottom, but a lot of them suggest that we at least are going to come back into the trading zone like the solar stocks over the next few days. So we'll keep an eye on it. Spirit Airlines was Russell rebalance activity. Thanks again, Z in the den. I'm going to give him yet another gold star today. He's been Johnny on the spot when I haven't been able to have time to go back and research some of these things. Thanks very much. And John from Philadelphia, actually. Z in the den. Yandex, YNDX, another one I've been watching kind of close. This has come back up into its gap down. This gap down was very heavy. That happened on the, March 3rd with a I'm going to call it 22 million shares. This thing is bouncing right along those highs. And Yandex, just so I get it right, let's look it up. To Internet search engine in Russia internationally. Okay, so this is the whole story of what happens, and it's pretty much back to where this thing was really getting thumped because, of course, we were going to do all this stuff to the Russians. It doesn't seem like it's bothering Yandex today, but right there's the gap. We'll have to see, keep an eye on some of these Russian stocks. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. Sell when you can, not when you have.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.